Also, some developments out of Georgia with the FBI visiting an election office in a county that investigated President Trump over his election fraud lies a few years back. The Bureau calling this a court-authorized law enforcement activity. That's the FBI statement in Fulton County, Georgia. Fulton County. We're like, OK, that's ringing a bell. That is vaguely familiar to me. Remind me why I know about Fulton County. It's because the context here is critically important. You may remember that Fulton County was one of the 4 criminal investigations into the president. They were leading one of those investigations. That case was dismissed in November, but it focused on a call that the president had with Georgia's Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, this now infamous call where the president asked to, quote, find the votes.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have, because we won the state.
President Trump, of course, did not win that state in 2020. President Biden did by, of course, that 11,000 plus vote margin. Aaron Gilchrist is joining us now. OK, so here we are now. Years after, right? And there is now this apparent law enforcement activity that is going down in this very county, in this very building that had led the investigation against President Trump over his election fraud lies. I know there are some critics that are suggesting, is this retaliation, raising that question? What do we know about it?
Yeah, there are a lot more questions, really, to be honest with you, Hallie, than we have answers at this point. The FBI is not saying much of anything about what exactly they're doing inside this building, what exactly brought them to this building, saying simply that they do have court-authorized law enforcement activity that's going on inside here and has been since about 1 o'clock this afternoon. We believe there are still agents inside, including the agent who is in charge of the Atlanta FBI office. We did get that statement from the county, from Fulton County, Georgia, that they did get a search warrant. They were served with a search warrant earlier today, and that the search was related to 2020 elections, and that is all that they could say about what was happening here because it was an ongoing process. So that's the official word about what's happening here today. We have seen this afternoon a steady stream of local and state elected officials, for the most part, going in and out of the building here, trying to observe what is happening inside. We have heard from both Republican and Democratic leaders here in this area about what exactly is happening here today and what they believe to be the reason for what's happening here, a la the 2020 election, and accusations that have gone in both directions, that have come from people in both parties. I want you to hear from one state senator who was able to get inside. He took some video as well of some of the FBI agents moving boxes and cartons around inside the building here. And he believes, to use one of Donald Trump's words, that this is a witch hunt that the president has caused to happen. Listen.
This is an order from on high to try to disrupt Fulton County's election administration just because Donald Trump is still mad that he lost the 2020 election.
Senator, are you surprised this is happening right now? Administration is going?
I'm not surprised, because I thought this would probably come at some point.
And Hallie, you may remember last week when the president was in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum, he did say something to the effect of people would be prosecuted for what happened in 2020. And that is something that people here are remembering and believing could be connected to what's happening today, Hallie.
Aaron Gilchrist posted up right at the center of the action. Aaron, definitely, I know you'll stay close to the camera. Alert us if you see anything else, any other action there in the building behind you. Appreciate that, pal. Thank you for being there.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.